It's 7 minutes past 10 on Citizen FM 93.7. My name is Lawrence UMOETTE. Welcome to Insight. The global problem of illicit drugs is forcing countries, including Nigeria, to adopt multi-dimensional approach to tackle the menace. Countries now address the problem through the lens of public health and broader social approach, rather than only through the conventional criminal matter approach. Similarly, the World Drug Report in 2021 predicted a likely 11% increase in the number of people who abuse illicit substance across the world over the next 8 years. About 40% of that increase is projected to come from Africa alone, meaning Nigeria, which is the most populous country in the continent, must be very concerned. So far, the Nigeria Drug Law Enforcement Agency has launched interventions to muscle drug traffickers with preemptive strikes and arrests so as to salvage, reverse, and in some cases control the environment and make illicit trade unattractive. The agency in 2021 alone mopped up over 3.4 million kilograms of assorted drugs from the street, which together with cash seized from traffickers amounted to over 150 billion naira. And on and on and on. And I know that this report, the update, is much, much higher than this. This is just 2021. And we are taking a look at curbing illicit drug trade in Nigeria, the challenges therein, and no other person who is capable to discuss this than a member of the Nigerian Drug Law Enforcement Agency. And I have in the studio the Director of Media and Advocacy of the NDLEA, Femi Babafemi. Welcome to Insight once again.
Thank you very much, Lawrence. My pleasure being here.
Oh, it's such a pleasure to have you. It's not easy to bring you here, but when we have the opportunity, we use it as much as we can.
I appreciate that.
Okay. So in the next 45 minutes or thereabout, Femi Babafemi will give us updates, will give clarifications, and some other issues that have to do with the issue of illicit drug trade in Nigeria, what the NDLEA has been doing, and some other issues. The agency has been in the news for all the good reasons this time around, and the Nigerians would also want to listen to more that the NDLEA has. So Insight will return in a moment, and when we come back, straight up, we look at the issues. Please don't go away. Thank you for staying tuned. It's still Insight on Citizen FM 93.7. My name is Lawrence UMOETTE, and my guest in the studio is the Director of Media and Advocacy for the Nigeria Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Femi Babafemi. And in the next 1 hour thereabout, we will be looking at the challenges of curbing illicit drug trade in Nigeria. You can be part of this program by joining us on our live stream device on YouTube. Just type in Insight Citizen FM 93.7 and you will be part of the show. And at the half-hour mark, we will throw the phone lines open and then you can call in. So, Mr. Babafemi, let's look at the issue of illicit drug trade. The last time you came, we spoke a lot about the challenges and about and all the things that NDLEA has done. But let's have a background. Let's look at it from the beginning. Why do we have this prevalence despite everything that has been put into this war?
Yeah, let's start from the fact that this has been a problem that has been there over the years. So he's gone deep into the fabric of the nation itself. That notwithstanding, we also know that the drug problem is a global thing. It's something that even more developed countries, the Western world, they've been battling with for years, for decades. So it's something, it has become a phenomenon that that has been part of human life, human struggles. Now, coming back home to us here in Nigeria, we know we have a very huge population of over 200 million people. That on its own is an abstraction for those dealing in these illicit substances. So they want to definitely, just like any other business would look for where you have the population.
Ready market.
Yeah, ready market. And so Nigeria naturally becomes a target for these criminal elements. But beyond that, again, you also have to look at it as a problem. I mean, look at it from the basics. That's starting from the family level. Now, quite a lot of I'm addressing the issue of parenting now. Quite a lot of parents are complicit, either knowingly or unknowingly. Some of them, quite a lot of them, also are users. They themselves indulge in this, and naturally this is transferred to their kids, because more often than not, parents that are users would have to send their kids to go and get these substances for them, or even those that buy themselves that don't send their kids to buy for them. Their kids are in one corner looking at them
as they're using it,
as they use this thing, and so they naturally believe that their parents must be deriving some pleasure from these substances, and so they are tempted to also want to try, and gradually they get involved, and that's how they become victims or abusers or dependents, as the case may be. But beyond that, even for parents that are not users, you also find a lot of them who care less about what their kids do, whether at home or outside the house. They don't care about the kind of friends their kids keep outside, and even when their kids come back home, they don't care about what is in their backpack. They don't care about what is in their wardrobe. They don't really follow up with them. They don't interact with them. And also, there are quite a lot of signs that they also don't see in the course of these children indulging in these illicit substances. For instance, when their kids start showing some symptoms, like coming back home, or even a child that has always been with the family in the living room, chatting together, enjoying together, or watching TV together, and suddenly that child starts withdrawing to be alone in his room. That's a red flag that parents
should explore.
Should have to look at and find out why. But quite a number of parents don't really care at that point, and so they just leave things go on until it degenerates to the point that becomes a complex problem. Then beyond that, again, when you look at coming out of the house, now that's the family level, to the school, how many of the schools also really pay attention to this problem? Fortunately, we are taking the message to the schools now to engage with them, for them to also know the things they need to do, either at the level of educating the students, the pupils, about the dangers of indulging in illicit substances, the dangers of getting involved in dealing or trafficking of these illicit substances. All of that we are getting involved with the schools, whether directly or through our partners, the NGOs, the UNODC, all of that. I mean, we're working with a lot of stakeholders to ensure that we get the messages to the school, we get the schools involved. We're also working with stakeholders at the level of our interministerial committee, IMC, where we also have the Federal Ministry of Education, so to ensure that the curriculum, we have drug education in the curriculum, and we're glad that that is already there. So it's for all the schools to activate this and make sure that students are properly taught and educated on this. Beyond the school, again, we have to come to the community, where the people who deal also live. So,
the community.
Yeah, the community, at the level of the community. What are the people in the community doing? Quite a lot of people want to fold their hands and say, it's NDLA problem. No, it's not NDLA's problem. It's our collective problem. So at the level of the community, those that know, like I think we often cite this example of when we had an outbreak of Mpurumiri, that's crystal methamphetamine in the southeast, the last quarter of last year. You can see how the people themselves, at the level of the community, rose up to say, no, enough is enough. We cannot allow you to do this in our communities. They're even to the point that some of them will have to drag either the dealers or the users to the community square and flog them, even though as an agency we don't support violence against them. But then the spirit behind it of the community themselves rising up to say, no, you won't do this in our community, because we know the impact, the danger of these things, not only on the lives of the people taking them, but also on the community itself. Because when you have the productive people in the community indulging in illicit substances, ultimately productivity will drop, and then that will affect even the development, the socio-economic development of that particular community. So that's one thing again. And we are also glad that we're responding to this by engaging with stakeholders at that level. That is talking of the traditional institution, our traditional rulers. We're engaging with them, the community-based organizations, as well as religious organizations at those levels. And we're also glad that we're getting the state governments to also set up committees, starting with the drug control committees at the state level, which will cascade down. And we're also working with the local governments also to ensure that we also have the same drug control committee at the level of the local government down to the communities, even at the level of the associations. In the palace, in churches, in mosques, these drug control committees, we're working with all these multi-stakeholders to ensure that they have all of them in response to what needs to be done at those levels. And now leaving the communities to the wider society, then we also, and that's why we got War Against Drug Abuse. That's an advocacy initiative of the agency, that is WADA, to mobilize everybody, wherever you are, wherever you are. You have a sphere of influence. That is, even if it's one person, you can influence by taking the message against drug abuse to that person. With that alone, you must, or you may likely have saved a soul. And that soul you save may also have to extend the same message to another person. And so it goes around as a circle, thereby ensuring that the message goes around and everybody is able to buy in and taking ownership of the war against drug abuse. And ultimately, that would really cut down and get us to where we actually desire to be.
Okay, staying with the society, over the years there's been a lot of literature, a lot of write-ups about people, social scientists, who try to find a nexus between violent crime and the use of drugs. Now, from your own perspective, is there any link?
Absolutely. We're not really hidden this. we've often said it, that indeed, from all empirical evidences out there, it's obvious, it's confirmed that there is a strong nexus between most of the violent crimes we have, especially in our own part of the world, and the problem of illicit drug abuse. Now, how did we come to this? You will see that in a lot of cases, when our security forces engage the criminal elements, whether the bandits, the insurgents, kidnappers, in their domains, more often than not, after clearing them out, they see remnants of drugs that have been used, or those that have been left unused, or those packets, there are packets there. That is one indication that these people live on these substances. Two, we've also seen people that have gone to their camps, either as victims or as negotiators. They have often, come out to say, indeed, these people are perpetually popping pills, injecting themselves, or smoking cannabis like 24/7. So that is another evidence. Three, we have also seen that in some cases, these people have also come out, that is, these criminal elements have also come out to even demand for drugs as part of ransom from families and relatives of their victims. That is another evidence. Fourth, those that we have also taken into custody, we have also seen that after days, 2-3 days of being in custody, they have no access
to the drugs.
They began to show symptoms, withdrawal symptoms. That is also to tell you that indeed these people have been living on these illicit substances, these mind-altering substances, because without these mind-altering substances, they won't be able to be doing the kind of inhuman things, terrible things they do. Again, I can still go on with more reasons. Another one is the fact that when we have also arrested a lot of traffickers who have been taking these things to their camps. And when we arrest them, we also hear confessions from them. The camps they were taking these things to, these illicit substances into in the forest to supply these criminal elements. So all of that, when you put that together, you definitely can conveniently draw the conclusion that indeed there is a strong nexus between the kind of security challenges, whether insurgency in the northeast, banditry in the northwest, kidnapping for ransom in the north central, or even the unknown gunmen saga in the southeast, and kidnapping, all manner of crimes in the southwest, south, and all across the country. All of these point to the fact that indeed drugs play a very major role. Yeah, it's a propeller. It fuels the problem of insecurity, and that's why we're trying everything possible to take the drug out of the equation. If we're able to successfully take the drug out of the equation, then our security forces would have less to do to contend with some other elements who go out of their way to commit these crimes. We're glad that is yielding results. You would have seen that these days we don't just go after the moles out there, which has been the practice for years now. We go after those who are funding all of this, those who are the major beneficiaries and the kingpins behind the scene that have been holding sway for years now. Now we go after them, and they're feeling the heat already.
All right, it's still Insight on Citizen FM 93.7. My guest is Femi Baba. Femi is the Director of Media and Advocacy for the NDLA, and we are looking at the challenge of curbing illicit drug trade in Nigeria. Inside will take a short break, and when we return, we will look at some other issues, the challenges, the way forward, the stride of the NDLA, and so many other issues associated with combating this menace in the society. Please don't go away. Just stay tuned. Inside will be back in a moment.
Citizens Tech Talk with Mina, bringing you news updates on digital technology around us, discussing the latest development and how technology can enrich you and make your life more exciting. Citizens Tech Talk with Mina, welcome to our world of technology. Every Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 12. Citizens Tech Talk with Mina, expanding our global reach through technology.
Abuja, plus including our surrounding areas. The freshest family magazine Jollyman program. When the Sabias waiting the play. Don't tell for una Bonga Radio, Citizen 93.7 FM Abuja. And you know what? Una freshest Owerri tomatoes. Night and that to the give una fresh story. We go take you back memory lane. Plus including make your belly be sugar industry. For waiting the play, no dull moment from the beginning to the end of the 1 hour program. Waiting the play with the freshest Owerri tomatoes every Saturday and Sunday, 12 noon to 1 p.m. for Citizen 93.7 FM Abuja. Waiting the play. Sit down, listen, hear waiting the play.
Thank you for staying tuned. It's Citizen FM 93.7 and it's Inside. Time check is 10:29. My name is Lawrence UMOETTE. My guest is Femi Babafemi, Director, Media and Advocacy, NDLEA. And you guessed right, we are looking at curbing illicit drug trafficking in Nigeria. The phone lines are open now. You can call in if you have questions for Femi Babafemi, if you have observations for the NDLEA, or even if you have information for them, you can also call in. You can also send a WhatsApp message for any of this information. And also don't forget, you can be part of our live stream on YouTube. Just type in Citizen FM 93.7 Insight and you will be part of it. The number to call is 0903 222 9797. That's 0903 222 9797. You can also call us on 0808 2222 037. That's 0808 2222 037. You can also call us on 0818 222 2205. Any of these numbers, you can also send us a WhatsApp message and just let us know where the message is coming from, and we will be glad to read your message. Don't forget, my guest is Femi Babafemi, Director, Media and Advocacy, Nigeria Drug Law Enforcement Agency, and we are looking at the challenge of curbing illicit drug trade in Nigeria. Let's look at the strides of the NDLA in the last couple of months. It's been massive. In a few months ago, it was on record that the NDLA made the biggest bust in its history, and this has also been followed by successive busts over the weeks. Is there any update in terms of prosecution of some of the big names or the big masquerades behind this arrest?
Definitely, we're making good progress in the courts, and we're glad that so far, let's say in the last 20 months, we have more than 3,000 convictions recorded for which people are serving various jail terms already. And for the big wigs, these are people that have all the money to hire all the senior advocates in the land, and they are in there. But then we're glad that a number of those cases are drawing to a close, and we'll be glad to see that a number of them definitely get what they deserve as far punishment for what they have done wrong to the society. And quite as of today, I can tell you that we've had about 27 drug barons now in our net.
27?
Yeah, 27, just within a period of 20 months. That's the highest ever. And what this means is that, like I said before, they're getting the heat now. It means they can no longer hide behind the traffickers, the moors, because these are people that have over the years built layers of shields to protect themselves, so that nobody can actually know them, nobody can actually know who they are. But now, with the new leadership at the agency, I can tell you that when we arrest traffickers or the moors or the dealers on the streets, at the airports, we go beyond that. We try to trace where did they get these things from, and in the course of tracing, you can rest assured somebody like in the caliber of Brigadier General Mohammed Buba Mara will not leave any stone unturned. He will deploy all the assets, necessary assets, and that has been really getting, and that's why you are seeing quite a number of the big people, the big masquerades behind the scene being unveiled, arrested, and thrown into detention now. And they are paying for what they have done wrong. That I can assure you. That's 27 in just about 20 months. That's huge. And beyond that, now one of the things that has added a really, serious bite to the fight is the fact that we don't just go after the drugs to seize them or even take them, the big people, out of circulation. We also go after their assets, which is a very strong deterrence, because all of this they are doing to acquire wealth and to live in opulence. Now, because you see a number of them would can afford to even agree to go to jail for 5-10 years as long as their assets remain intact, so that when they come out, they come back, or even while they are there, their families can be enjoying them, and when they come back also, they can fall back on them and continue to enjoy them, and even still have resources to go back into the trade. But now we go beyond arresting them, seizing the drugs. We go also after the assets, and all of which we're taking back from them now, trying to get them forfeited to the government of Nigeria. So this would really, really serve as a very strong deterrent, because they know that when they go into this criminal trade, they don't just lose their liberty, they won't just lose the drugs, they will also lose everything they have ever worked for or acquired as through the process of the criminal trade.
Okay, we know that over the years, when you look at the drug trade, the ones they call the traffickers, a lot of people look at them as the pawns, the foot soldiers on the street. Then you have the barons. Now, give us a picture. What does it mean to be a baron? At what points do you move from being a trafficker, which in itself is a big boy in his own standard?
Of course.
At what point does he now become a baron? Where do you end that title?
Yes, when you end the title of being a baron, when some may not necessarily have to graduate from being the moors on the streets, or the traffickers or the dealers, some big already, and so their own is
like investors.
And investors, exactly. That they have taken caught a niche for themselves at that point. But then you also see some of the small ones over the years graduate from the streets, and they also try to create a cartel for themselves. Also, they are now also the big masquerade behind the scene, recruiting through some layers also, a lot of traffickers, and so their own is just to sit back, fund the recruitment, buy the substances, and designate them for different places. All of these they've been doing over the years, and even quite a number of the traffickers may not even know them, who they are, because they walk through layers, like I said. And so that at that point when you begin to you are not carrying yourself, you are there shielded, faceless, and walking through different someone we just declared wanted yesterday. He's been dead over the years, acquiring properties here and there, and having people that have been recruiting traffickers for him, paying the traffickers through these parties and what have you. But eventually, all that came to an end recently when one of the Moors was arrested trying to take cocaine to Dubai. And in the course of that, like I said, these days, I tell you that the chairman of the agency will not just stop at the arrest of a trafficker. He goes beyond that to say, okay, who is the man? Where did this man get the drug from? Who sent him? It's not just enough for you as trafficker to say, you don't know this, you don't know. The agency now goes beyond what you say with your mouth, with the help of technology and everything, to dig deep and trace. It could take weeks, it could take months, but then I can tell you, with the kind of leadership the agency has today, every asset that needs to be deployed will be deployed to make sure that we track and trace up to the big masquerade behind the scene to unveil and go after them. And that's why we're having quite substantial number of them right now behind bars.
Okay, you can still call us on 0903 222-9797. You can also call us on 0808 222-22037. In the alternative, you can call us on 0818 222-2205. Any of these numbers, my guest is Femi Babafemi, Director, Media and Advocacy, NDLEA, and we are looking at the issue of curbing illicit drug trafficking in Nigeria. And don't forget, you can also be part of a live stream on YouTube. Just type in Insight on Citizen FM 93.7. Insight will be back after the short break. Please don't go away. Thank you for staying tuned. It's Insight on Citizen FM 93.7. My name is Lawrence UMOETTE. It's 10:40. That means we have less than 15 minutes to wrap up this program. My guest is Femi Babafemi, Director of Media and Advocacy, the NDLEA. And you can call us on 0903 222 9797. That's 0903 222-9797. You can also call us on 0808 222-037. In the alternative, you can call us on 0818 222-2205. Any of these numbers, Mr. Babafemi is in the studio to take your calls. And also, don't forget, if you have information that will or can help the NDLA in any way, especially in its battle against drug trafficking, don't forget you can also send in a WhatsApp message on that. Okay, Let's look at some other issues. There's this controversy. The last time you came, we spoke briefly about it, but it's like it has refused to go, and that's the controversy of legalizing cannabis in Nigeria. Some people say Nigeria is losing so much in terms of resources. Why is the NDLA still insistent on that position?
The NDLA does not make the law. The law in Nigeria today penalizes possession, cultivation, exporting, importing, or dealing or using of cannabis. So that's the position of the law today. And the NDLA, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, was set up to implement, to enforce the law. And that's exactly where we stand.
So, but if the NDLA is to offer a professional advice, so to speak, to the Nigerian government, to the state, and say, okay, we are thinking of maybe adjusting our law, reviewing our law, what would be the position of the NDLA?
That is no doubt what the law says at the moment, or even strengthening it the more. Why? Now, I'll tell you why.
Okay.
When you look at the 2018 National Drug Survey, that puts the number of drug users in Nigeria at 14.3 million. Meaning that if we say we're a population of, and that's 14.3 million, don't forget that that survey was actually carried out on for people within the age bracket of 15 and 64. Meaning that you have those less than 15. Don't forget, these days you have children of, 10, 12, even 9 abusing illicit substances. And you also have people above 64 also abusing substances. So what it means is that particular survey, that figure could be far more, which is a high probability. Now, out of the 14.3 million, 10.6 million of them actually abuse cannabis alone. 10.6 million, which is far more than the population of a lot of countries in Europe and other parts of the world. And if we're saying we're having security challenges across the country, and there is a strong nexus between these security challenges and the problem of drug abuse in the country. Now, how then do we want to make available?
Okay, just hold on. I think we have a caller here. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Who's on the line, please?
My name is Kofo.
Hello. Hello.
Morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
My question is, what did you do with
you
the
didn't
address?
you didn't tell us your
in
name.
which you
Hello,
live?
hello.
I think I had Kofo, right?
Okay, Kofo, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Lokoboma.
Okay, please go ahead. But can you move away from your radio? I can still send some feedback.
Sorry?
Okay, go ahead, but please move away from your radio set.
Also, what do you do with the hard drugs in which, what do you do with the hard drugs in which they seize?
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Kofo. That's very straightforward. Any drugs seized first is warehoused until the case is dispensed with in the law court. That is when the matter is finally determined by the court. And after that, we go back to the court to seek an order of the court to destroy them publicly. And that's exactly what we do. And I'm sure if you go on our website, that is ndla.gov.ng, or any of our social media handles, whether on YouTube, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, that is at ndla_Nigeria, you will see all the evidences of the public destruction of these drugs, illicit substances across the country. And of recent, even the cocaine hall in Lagos, we had to go to the court to seek an order of the court to destroy substantial portions of it, and securing some remnants for the prosecution of the case. All of that we provide. They are done publicly. They are not done in secrecy. They are not done in the secret or behind the scene. They are done publicly with all the stakeholders, relevant stakeholders in attendance. So they are destroyed. They are of no use to the society.
Okay. Just before we pick another call, you said something about the situation in the Southeast last year with crystal meth. We know that at a point this was massive. It was growing. All of a sudden, we are now witnessing the curve is downwards. So what exactly happened? Apart from getting the community buy-in, what did the NDLA do?
Then, apart from getting the community buy-in, like you said, we went after. You see, because in this fight, it goes beyond mopping the waters from. When you have a flood, you don't just keep mopping the water from wherever the flood extends to. You go to the source, and that's exactly the strategy the agency is adopting, working with now, which the chairman, Christians as offensive action. That is taking the battle to the source, taking the battle to the doorsteps of the barons, the cartels, the sources. And so what we do is to ensure that we lock the tap so that we don't allow these things to keep flowing. When you see, we don't just do seizures of 1 kg, 2 kg. Not that we don't do, we still mop up all those ones that escaped, that slipped into the streets or into the communities. But then when you look at what the agency seizes now, they are in tons. Massive. So, meaning that we're going right to the source. We go right into their warehouses, go right into the forest where these things are warehoused, where they look at the 2.1 tons of cocaine seized in Lagos. That is huge. That is beyond what a continent can even take. That is huge. So, just imagine the impact of that, whether on Nigeria or in any other country. You're talking of drugs worth over 300 billion naira. Just imagine what that would do to, if that were to be used in Nigeria, or the funds return into they succeed in selling all of those, and the funds come into the hands of criminal elements. They can undermine any society, any country. So that kind of huge resources, but we're glad that all of those are not allowed, and we're cutting them short right from their sources.
Okay, it's still staying on the crystal meth and cannabis. These are considered homegrown drugs in Nigeria, but there are fears, especially when we saw that drug haul recently on cocaine. There are fears in some quarters that Nigeria perhaps is moving towards becoming a producer nation when it comes to class A drugs like cocaine.
No. We don't have cocaine yet here, as in we don't produce that yet here. What we do, the semblance of that we have is the crack, which is cooked with some other things. Yeah, when you talk of crack, they cook like the woman, one of those involved in that, the woman in Warri. There is the woman we call the Baroness in Warri. We've taken her out of circulation already. But beyond that, the cocaine usually comes from South America and through the high sea, and we saw what happened in Lagos. That's a very devastating blow to them, to those involved. That's actually from an international syndicate, and but beyond that, even meth, that is the crystal meth, is something that was also alien to us here before, but over the years our people went and brought in the Mexicans, those who are experts in the cooking of that substance, and they were able to get the technology transferred to them, and now we have cooks in Nigeria. And we're also glad that again the agency did not just wait. We've also gone after these so-called experts, the cooks, the chemists. We're going after them, as you can see what happened in the VGC estate in Lagos, as well as...
okay, just a moment, Mr. We have a call here. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Who's on the line, please?
My name is Jerry. I'm calling from Party.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yes, good morning to your guest in the studio.
Good morning, James.
Yes, thank you. I want to say something about those people who hawk drugs in the market. Especially where I live in Party, you see people who hawk drugs. They hawk a lot of drugs. And I don't know if it is under the law that they should sell drugs in the market very openly like that. And the worst scenario is that these people, I'm not sure if they are trained people. They are not doctors. They've never enrolled in any of the medical, institutions. Most, I don't want to call the name they call them, but there's some of those people who hawk drugs in the market. So for me, I think it's not good, and I'm expecting that the NDLA will look into it and start arresting them if possible.
All right, thank you, James.
Thank you, James. I'll tell you that the NDLA is involved in the arrest and seizure of illicit substances. I can understand your position. Those people you refer to, they are actually we have some other stakeholders like NAFDAC, like I think Pharmacists Council of Nigeria. Yeah, there are other stakeholders involved who are supposed to go after them, and I'm aware they are going after them. All you just need to do is to send this information to the relevant organizations that I've just mentioned, giving the address, the location. You'll definitely see them come after them. Thank you.
All right, before we wrap this up, we have less than 2 minutes to do this. The drug cabal is vicious worldwide. So what is it like in terms of security for your operatives in combating this? What has it been so far?
Well, I also go back. I also refer to the Chairman Chief Executive of NDLA and to answer this. Don't forget that he's a battle-tested general of the Nigerian Army, and one of the first things, because he actually knew, he was prepared for it, obviously, that having been the chairman of the Presidential Advisory Committee for the Elimination of Drug Abuse, so actually he didn't see his appointment coming, but then because he already worked on a document, a blueprint for this particular proposal, it was more or less easy for him to actually know from the word go what he wants to do. And so one of the first things he did upon assumption of office on January 18, 2021 was to bring together an early corps of officers and men called the Strike Force, and which is a full directorate on his own under a director of special duties, and the commander who also doubles as the commander of that strike force. These are people that have been exposed to local and international training, well trained and well armed, adequately armed, to provide cover for the regular officers and men of the agency in terms of special duties, in terms of special operations, and in terms of emergency response. So all of these have been taken care of. Beyond that, we're working with other stakeholders like the Nigerian police, the military, especially the military. The military has been very, very supportive of that, I can tell you.
All right, that's our wrap on this program. Thank you so much, Femi Babafemi, Director of Media and Advocacy, NDLA, for your interventions on Insight. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right, that's our package on Insight today. The program returns tomorrow with another interesting edition. My name is Lawrence UMOETTE. At 11 o'clock, news on the hour, and immediately after that, Mina will be coming in for our program, which is Tech Talk. Don't miss it. My name is Lawrence UMOETTE. Have a beautiful day ahead.